This Christmas certainly looks different than most. We no longer have a home, we're not spending it with our boys, and we have no gifts to exchange. That's because we're launching into full-time travel next week. Our channel is travel story driven, but today we want to tell you a different kind of story. We want to tell you about a Christmas 20 years ago when our family was separated by war. We are Robert and Jill, a Gen X couple who retired early to travel the world full time. After 30 years of life together, raising kids, building careers, and chasing the American dream, we reinvented our retirement by selling everything we owned to trade it for the adventure of a lifetime. Join us as we bring you stories about the people we meet, the places we go, and what it took to get there. In 2005, there were 1.5 million U.S. service members, and of those, 386,000 were deployed, meaning they were away from their families at Christmas. That's almost 1 in 4. Of those, 200,000 were in the Middle East, and of those 200,000, 139,000 were in Iraq. One of those was my husband. It was the toughest Christmas we've had in our 30 years together. Our boys were 5 and 7, and at that point, Robert had already been gone for 17 months. Today, 20 years later to the day, we find ourselves facing another unprecedented era as our lives are about to change dramatically starting next week. We'd like to share with you a letter that Robert wrote home to our sons that Christmas day, 20 years ago today.
December 25th, 2005. Ryan and Ethan, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas day in Arizona with Grandma Pat, Ralph, and Mommy. Mommy said that you saw in the news that Santa had just left Iraq and was heading to England, and you were wondering if he visited. Well, I'm happy to tell you that yes, Santa came and visited Daddy here in Iraq. It was pretty late at night here, but there are always soldiers awake at all hours of the day to protect people. My friend, Sergeant Lean, was on the radio watch and said that our battalion headquarters had called over the radio that the Apache gunships was escorting Santa and his reindeer from Baghdad International Airport to our FOB. Tony knows about you and Mommy and came to my room to let me know that Santa was en route in case I wanted to give him a message, since Santa would be visiting Grandma Pat's house later when the two of you are there this Christmas. I moved up to the top of the roof of our barracks, which is flat to begin with, as many buildings are here in Iraq. It was pretty easy to see Santa coming. His sled was all lit up with Christmas lights, and of course you could see Rudolph's nose glowing red. In Iraq, none of the planes or helicopters fly with lights on because they don't want the enemy to see them. We couldn't hear the Christmas music playing from Santa's sled because of the whoop, 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 whoop of the Apache gunship's rotor blades. Once Santa got over our airspace, that's the sky above the FOB here, the two helicopters flew off in an overwatch position while Santa began to make his rounds to all the soldiers here. There was quite a bit of excitement as Santa shook hands with all the soldiers, as many as he could. He gave us each a small bag of candy, saying that he knew we were going home soon and didn't have room for a lot of stuff. When he got to me, I waved and said, "Hi, Santa." He smiled and gave me a hug. Said, "How you doing, Robert? Sergeant Philbrook?" I said, "I'm okay, Santa. Just really looking forward to going home and being with Jill and my boys." Santa sighed and said, "I know, son, I know. I've been doing this for many, many years, and it's always tough bringing some Christmas joy to the troops. My job's easy compared to all yours, but I want to thank you. And didn't you turn 40 the other day?" "Yes, Santa," I replied. His eyes twinkled for a moment and gave a big smile. "Oh, it seems just the other day you were a little boy. Growing up, you always asked for Army Men every December. I guess it's no surprise you ended up a soldier." "No, I guess not," I laughed briefly. "Well, son, I'm proud of you, and thank you for doing what you're doing over here for all these Iraqi kids and their families, trying to bring a little peace on earth to them," Santa said. "We try as best we can, Santa," I told him. "Well, you keep up the good job over here. I'm going to be getting on my way. I've got Kelvin, Ryan, and Ethan's Christmas gifts, so don't you worry none. They're good boys, and they love you and miss you very, very much." "One more question, Santa, if I may. You don't seem too worried about the bad guys seeing you with all your lights on your sled and stuff." Santa chuckled a bit and shook his head. "Son, I've been through many war zones over the years, seeing the troops. Heck, even saw Jill's grandfather during the Bulge in '44 when he was patching up all those wounded soldiers, trying to keep them alive and get them back home to their families. Sometimes courage is just a matter of standing up in spite of fear and doing the right thing because you know there's a lot of people counting on you. You know your sons may not have you this Christmas, Santa continued, but they are counting on you to keep the country safe. Someday it might even be their turn, and they'll remember what courage it took to come over here and protect freedom. You're a hero to those boys. Oh, Santa, I humbly replied, I'm no hero. And then together we said at the same time, but I've served in a company of them. Santa and I laughed, and then he stepped back and saluted me. You take care tonight, Santa, I told him. It can be dangerous out there. Santa got in his sled and spoke. Don't worry, I've got some guardian angels tonight. He pointed up towards those Apache helicopters off in the distance. Besides, you know they can't put any IEDs in the air. Roger that, Santa, I laughed. With that, he took off and headed off into the night to continue spreading Christmas joy around the world. Well, boys, that was my visit with Santa for Christmas. Y'all have a wonderful day with Mom and seeing all of her family there in Arizona. Daddy will be home next month, and this will be the last Christmas we ever spend apart. I love you. Be good boys, and I'm proud of you. Love, your dad. Watching that again after 20 years, the emotions are still super raw.
Yeah, it was a very emotional time. We can remember it as if it were yesterday. It is hard to believe it's been 20 years.
Yeah. Please remember all of those this Christmas season who are away from their families in service to their country and to their communities.
Robert and I would like to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, and that the peace, joy, and love of this season just covers your home.
So next week, we start on our first leg of full-time world travel, heading to 25 different countries between next week and summertime.
I know, I can't believe it's here.
It's finally here.
It's finally here. So you'll be sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe, like, and comment. And we're really excited to launch into travel and bring you along with us.
We're also on Instagram and Facebook if you'd like to follow along there. But we do, of course, hope you watch the videos.
And we have another great video, if you haven't seen it already, for some wonderful storytelling about what inspired you to travel.
Right. A story about my dad. So we encourage you to watch that video as we continue to talk about the people we meet,
the places we go,
and what it took to get there. Thanks for watching.